I've been collecting animation and art books for many years now. Whilst they all hold collections of beautiful artwork, as a professional animator, many of these books also serve as essential reference or sources of knowledge. Of all the animation books in my collection, if there was one that I'd recommend to anyone taking their first steps in the art form, it would undoubtedly be Richard Williams' classic, The Animator's Survival Kit. The Animator's Survival Kit is the most comprehensive guide to the mechanics of animation ever published, and there are few professional animators who don't own a copy. In fact, it's a book so good that I not only have 2 different editions, but also a DVD box set containing a recording of the masterclass on which the book is based. I was exposed to Richard Williams' work from a young age through his commercials, the Peter Sellers Pink Panther title sequences, and obviously, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It was not, however, until I started to study animation that I found out who was behind this work. The Animator's Survival Kit was first published 22 years ago, just as I started my animation studies, and I bought it the second I saw it. The degree course I was enrolled on was heavily focused on software, without teaching any of the fundamental principles or mechanics of animation. Starving for information, I devoured the book, and it became my primary source of animation knowledge. Whilst the book is based upon traditional hand-drawn animation, the principles all very much apply to any medium of animation. Learning traditional techniques such as the use of timing charts may not seem directly relevant to those working in a computer, and I know there are people who will skip past these sections, but to do so would be to miss out on a more thorough understanding of animation, which can genuinely improve the quality of your work. The book explains each element of body mechanics in a way that provides a thorough understanding. The information about walk cycles alone forms a significant percentage of the book, and really is second to none. But unlike other guides which simply provide set formulas, this book goes even further by teaching you how to take the basic elements of a walk and vary them in order to invent something new. Other elements of mechanics, such as runs and sneaks, are covered in almost as much depth as the walks. And sections on flexibility and weight round out all of the essential knowledge that you need to start moving characters around. Whilst the book touches upon acting, that really isn't its strength, but it was never intended to be. Williams himself states, if we know and understand all the basics, then we've got the tools to create. Only then we can give the performance. He goes on to say, this book is an anatomy course in animation. Just like an anatomy course in life drawing, it shows you how things are put together and how they work. This knowledge frees you to do your own expression. The clarity with which the lessons are presented is another clear strength of the book. Simple but appealing illustrations clearly demonstrate the principles, whilst the book is also peppered with examples from Williams' films which show the same principles applied to a variety of other designs. Whilst the book is obviously a goldmine of information for animators to understand the mechanics that underpin our work, I feel there's another valuable lesson to learn from the book, which typically goes unmentioned. In 1967, when Williams was close to 40 years old, with a large, successful London studio and 18 years of experience, he hired former Warner Brothers animator Ken Harris. It was then that he said his animation education truly began. He went on to seek out knowledge from Disney legends such as Milt Kahl, Frank Thomas, Ollie Johnston, Art Babbitt and Grim Natwick. I've known many animators with just a couple of years of experience who have already given up learning. They have their bag of tricks and are content to sit back and turn out the same thing time and again. Richard Williams was never content with that. Whether in art or animation, his was a pursuit of mastery, one that required a deep dedication to lifelong learning, an approach which I've always found inspiring. Without that dedication to learning and desire to pass on the knowledge, much of what he shares in the book could have been lost long ago. Before the Animator's Survival Kit was published, Richard Williams started to share the vast knowledge he'd amassed through a series of multi-day animation masterclasses. The recording of one of these masterclasses at Blue Sky Studios is what forms the basis of the DVD box set. In addition to the recordings, the DVDs also feature over 400 animated segments based upon the illustrated examples in the book. Whilst I'm very happy to have the DVDs, I would caution new animators that the set is extremely expensive, and I was already a working professional when I bought it. This really isn't something that you need, since all of the information is gathered in the book and you really aren't missing anything significant. In fact, many of the elements from the masterclass, which were absent from the original version of the book, such as further examples of animal mechanics, are now present in the expanded edition, which was released in 2009. It's impossible to overstate the impact that this one book has had on my career and no doubt on the careers of many other animators. When the expanded edition was released, I was lucky enough to meet Richard Williams, and I'm thankful that I was able to thank him personally for the impact that his work has had on me. Obviously, the Animator Survival Kit didn't teach me everything, but it gave me an excellent start, and I'd highly recommend it to anyone who is serious about learning animation. Whilst the lessons about mechanics are the reason that the Animator Survival Kit is so popular and consistently recommended to animation students, for me, learning about Richard Williams' approach to studying animation, his constant pursuit of mastery, is one of the most valuable lessons in the book. It's one of the reasons I've amassed so many art and animation books over the years. After 22 years, I may no longer refer to the Animator Survival Kit as much as I once did, but its presence on my bookshelf serves as a constant reminder that there is always more to learn.